slap my thing. All right. Ready? We want to take this time to welcome everyone back to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship press conference. This press conference is the pre-second round press conference featuring first the University of Alabama, and then later on we will have the University of Texas players and coach here. Alabama will be first to the press conference in a few moments. They are the number 8 seed. They bring a 24-9 record into tomorrow's game against Texas. Alabama is a number 8 seed, Texas a number 1 seed. We will hear from the players first for about 15 minutes, then they'll be dismissed, and then we'll have head coach Christy Curry joining us. The players that are joining us today are seniors Sarah Ashley Barker, Loyal McQueen, and Aaliyah Nye. One other thing, thank you for joining us on Zoom. We have several people who have joined us on Zoom. Please check your settings to be sure that you are identified by name and affiliation. You'll be called on only if you are properly identified. If you wish to ask a question, please use the raised hand function. Again, please use the raised hand function, and you'll be called on with your question. Again, first we'll have the Alabama players, and then they'll be followed by head coach Christy Curry. Thank you very much. We'll start in a few moments. Oh, right on time. All right, it's great to have you back here joining us today for this press conference. Congratulations again on the victory last night. We've got Loyal McQueen, we've got Aaliyah Nye, and we've got Sarah Ashley Barker. I should know her name by now. We're going to start with some questions from the media that are assembled here in Austin. And again, thank you for those people who are joining us on Zoom. Please use the raised hand function, and you'll be able to ask your question in a few moments. All right, we'll start today with Mark Rosner, Associated Press. Mark, please bring the microphone here.
This is any of the players. What you had a, I don't want to say easy, but you scored last night, inside, outside. What have you noticed about Texas that might look a little more problematic defensively?
I think that when it comes to Texas, they're an aggressive team on the offensive end and on the defensive end. They deny you really hard. They're really good, defensively sound. We know they're going to play really, really hard. And so I think that it's really just about taking care of the ball. They really force their opponents to turn the ball over. Last night we didn't take care of the ball, so we know that going into tomorrow that we've got to take care of the ball a lot better just because – they take those turnovers and they push in transition when you turn the ball over. And so it's really just about trying to take care of the ball. Defensive rebound, they're going to be really hard on the offensive glass. They're big. They have a big presence. And so from a defensive standpoint, they're just going to be in the gaps the whole game. They're going to have their length. They're going to use their length, and we've got to be able to just try and attack and not be afraid to take it to the hoop just because of their length.
Danielle Lerner, Houston Chronicle, for Sarah Ashley and Aaliyah. What have you two noticed about how Loyal has kind of stepped into this starting role this season, and where do you think that she's grown the most?
Obviously, being a point guard is hard. You have to know everybody's position. You have to be very vocal, and I think something that I've seen Loyal grow the past, like, just this season and from last year. She's very vocal. She's just something that we need. She is a point guard that we need. She's been very vocal this year. She has stepped into her role, and she's just a great leader all around. She's starting to find her game, I feel like, in these past few games, and I'm just very proud of where she's come and how much she's grown.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I also think that she's one of the hardest workers on this team. You know what you're going to get from her every single night. When things don't go her way, she doesn't put her head down. She continues to push and continues to get through adversity. And so I think that having a senior like that, have freshmen look up to her like that, she's really close with Essence Cody, and she really has been like a mentor for her. And I've definitely loved seeing that. I love seeing that relationship. She's just a great person. She's a great teammate. And at the end of the day, she's like Aaliyah was saying, it's hard being a point guard. I'm not in her shoes. You've got to take control of your team. You have to command the ball. You have to handle defensive pressure the whole game. And so I think she's done a great job with that this year. I think that, if I was in her position as a point guard, I would feel stressed at times. And so I'm just really proud of her. I'm proud of who she is. I'm proud of the player that she's becoming, and also who the player she is now. But yeah.
Next question will come from Danny Davis, Austin American Statesman.
Sarah Ashley, kind of take me through last night. What do you think of your teammates kind of picking you up when you were in foul trouble? And when I looked over there, you always seemed engaged. You always seemed kind of up and at them. How did you kind of handle that yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. As a competitor, I wanted to be on the floor, but I really, after the game, I was actually talking to one of my friends, and I was like, it was probably the most happy that I've been in a game from a standpoint of being able to cheer my teammates on, because usually I'm on the floor, and some of those teammates that I was cheering for last night usually are on the bench cheering for me, and so it kind of gave me a chance to. Everything that they've done for me this year by picking me up, by cheering me on the bench, by saying, "Essay, you're doing such a good job," I got to do that for them last night. And so I think I really cherished that moment. I was able to pick them up and be like, "Hey, you don't need me to win this game," because at the end of the day, the game of basketball isn't one person. You have 5 people on the floor. You've got coaches. You've got bench players. And that's how I took it. I knew coming off when I came out with foul trouble, I had to be engaged for my team. I had to be the leader that they needed me to be, because a leader isn't someone who's just on the floor. A leader is someone off the court in their life in general, and I knew that. I knew that last night my job was to cheer on for the team on the sideline, and that I had to do that. And I took full responsibility with that, but I also have coaches who were in my ear saying, "Hey, we need you. Like, your presence is felt. We need that presence from you, even if you're not on the floor." And then they looked at me last night too when I came out, and they're like, "Hey, we're good. We got you." And so I know that, I have their back, they have my back, and that's all you can do in those situations, because you're not going to get calls that go your way sometimes, and you can't be frustrated about that. And I'm very grateful that we won the game last night, and I had no doubt that they were going to pick my back up last night.
Roger Hoover with the Crimson Tide Sports Network. A question for Loyal. Just how'd you see Alabama's depth really shine yesterday? Because, again, it looked a little different on the floor at times, but this still offense put up 82 points. Just how did everything flow offensively with different depth on the floor?
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how many great pieces that we have. Like S.A. said, she's typically on the floor, but I think Carly Weathers did a great job last night. She stepped up big for us. Berger Williams came in and gave us some good minutes offensively and defensively. And we're definitely, who knows what tomorrow brings, who knows who's going to get in foul trouble or something like that happen. So just super thankful for them. They show up every day and work extremely hard. So in those moments, I'm just happy that they were able to step up last night.
A reminder before we take another question from the media here in Austin, if you are joining us on Zoom and you do have a question, please use the raised hand function, and we will have you address your question to the student athletes. Thank you. We're back here in Austin.
Nick Macon, Crimson Tide Productions. Congratulations on y'all's win yesterday. We all know that after a win, you guys go get ice cream. What are some of y'all's favorite flavors?
This is the best question that I've ever been asked. If you know me, ice cream is my thing, and I eat it every single day. I'm like more of a chocolate girly, so I just anything chocolate, and you can add some cookie dough in there, some Oreos, some brownies. I could go on and on about ice cream, but I'll let them take the floor now.
Thanks for that question. I like fruity flavors, so I'm more of like a raspberry sorbet type of girl, or just like the rainbow sorbet. So yeah.
I'm more of like a simple girl, so like more of like just chocolate, maybe a little brownie or something like that, but just chocolate.
You've got to add the brownie. You have to.
Brownie.
Warmed.
Thumbs up for that question. That's outstanding. I've never seen people more excited to answer a question ever in a press conference. Good job. All right, we're going to go back to Mark Rosner here. No, we're not. Mark is drawing the line. Too much pressure. All right, there you go. Mark Rosner, Associated Press.
Loyal, the way Essence played last night, what do you need from her tomorrow, given the size you've talked about with Texas and depth they have up front?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Essence, I think Essence has no clue how good she can be. And I think every day I just talk to her about continuing to believe in herself and continuing to be aggressive. So tomorrow we're just going to need for her, like I said, in those moments, if she gets a foul call, just continuing to keep her composure. But we're going to need her tomorrow to be a force in the inside and continue to crash the boards and to also be aggressive looking for her own shot as well.
We're going to go back to Danny Davis of the Austin American-Statesman for the next question. Danny.
This is for any of the players, but what's kind of your mindset going into tomorrow, knowing the crowd's going to be against y'all? It's neutral, I guess, but it's a hostile territory for y'all. What's the mindset going with that?
We have to just come in and stay together. That's why it's a game of runs. So they're going to go on runs and we're going to go on runs. And I think we just have to stay together, play Alabama basketball, and just go with our game plan. They're really good. They're a bigger team than Florida State. So I think we just have to rebound. We can't put them at the line. We got to get out in transition. So I think just coming in with our game plan and obviously being vocal and loud and just sticking together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just super excited. I think it's going to be fun. This is what March Madness is all about. I'm super blessed to be here, and I can't wait for tomorrow.
Any other questions for our student athletes? All right, then. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. The best of luck tomorrow, and I do hope you have some downtime this evening for some ice cream. Thank you, ladies, very much.
Roll Tide.
Yes. Yes, it's time to welcome back to the dais our University of Alabama head coach, Christy Curry. Welcome back, Coach. And again, congratulations for last night's win. I just want to remind those people who are joining us on Zoom, if you have a question for Coach Curry, please use the raised hand function and we'll get to your question momentarily. Right now, we will, we can start with just a quick opening statement if you want, Coach, and then we'll go right to questions.
Really, again, just excited for our team. It's a one-game season. The sense of urgency and purpose to reset at midnight is something that we talk about frequently in the SEC. And so hopefully we can draw from our experiences of a quick refocus and just handling our recovery the way that we've gone about it all season because, we're playing a really good Texas team tomorrow on their home floor, and we'll have to play near perfect to give ourselves a chance to be down the stretch with them.
Thank you. Questions? We'll start with Mark Rosner from the Associated Press.
Yes, hi, Christy. Loyal said that Essence Cody has no clue how good she could be. Why is that, and how do you get a clue in that kind of situation?
Well, she's so incredibly humble, and she is just one of the sweetest, most respectful. Had a relationship with her since the 8th grade. We offered her as an 8th grader and continued to build a relationship. So in this day and time, it is so refreshing to have a young lady that really cared about, the things that you should value in the recruiting process. So her character, her mom is absolutely incredible. And she really has things in perspective. I do think she probably knows how good she can be. I think that, as a freshman, it's difficult because you're playing most times now. The portal has created, you're playing against 21, 22, 23-year-olds. And in the SEC, she played against 2 freshmen. I believe one at Missouri and Lenscomb, and then the young lady from Auburn. So there wasn't a lot of ease. And, hey, I'm playing against some kids that have a lot of experience. So she's just continued to grow and try and improve and has brought a great work ethic every day. So, it's scary how good that she can be, but I think we all felt coming in that she could be great.
Roger Hoover with the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Yesterday, 26 minutes for Berger Williams off the bench. Just how important was she, not only in that game, how much have you enjoyed coaching her this year?
Well, she's selfless. She's humble again. She just wants her team to be successful and just wants to help when her number's called. And I've been telling her all year it's going to come at some point, and I really love what she does on the defensive side of the ball. She really gives us another dimension on the ball. And, I thought she hit the big 3 yesterday, made some great decisions, came up with a loose ball hustle rebound there at the end. But she brings, she's a 5th year, and she understands the things that she can bring. She plays within herself. And, again, I need her to look to be more aggressive offensively. We're going to continue to encourage that because she really can score it. Just happy for her, because she made a decision to put, everything that she had from accolades aside to come play on a great team, and she's really been a great addition, and it shows the kind of character she has.
Danielle Lerner, Houston Chronicle. What are going to be the keys for you guys to maintain the pace that you like to play with on offense against Texas's defense?
Well, we feel like the SEC has prepared us for that because we've seen it night in and night out in the SEC. We see big, we see physical. I think there are 4 dimensions to Texas that we've seen a lot this season, and we're going to have to draw from our experience, And I think when you look at they score 40 points in the paint, it's going to be really critical that we protect the paint and that we don't give them second chance points. That's something in our league that we've done well at times and that we haven't done well at times. So tomorrow we're going to need to be a 5-star, not a 3-star with that. And then I think you have to take care of the basketball against Vic's teams. They're scoring 12 points off turnovers. We had way too many yesterday. Was that because we'd had 2 weeks since we played? I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, we've got to take care of the basketball, and that's when we've been our most successful in the SEC. I think it's really, really important, too. One of the critical stats of, Texas, they make more free throws than our opponents have shot. And that's something we take a lot of pride in and night out. So I think that the ability to handle the physicality and to have toughness about us, when we've done that, we've been successful getting to the free throw line and converting. So I think it'll be a test of wills at the free throw line tomorrow night. And then I just think it's really, really important, gosh, we've got to rebound. That's the most critical stat to the game because they're big and they run waves of big at you and tall and physical. And, when you look at an LSU and a South Carolina, that's who they remind me of. We're going to have to stay close on the boards. They've out-rebounded, I think, 30 of 35 games, if I'm not mistaken. So I think those 4 will be critical keys to our success. And it's been critical keys to our success in every SEC game this season.
Big Macon, Crimson Tide Productions. Coach, congratulations on your win. We just talked to some of the players, and after a big road game, we know you guys get ice cream. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
And, Coach, before you answer, I want to say I've never seen young student athletes more excited to answer a question than they did a few minutes ago.
Well, it was so late last night that when we got home that we're going tonight after film, and I've already told them I think we've got to walk 500 feet. I'm not sure, but it's supposed to be really good. I can't remember the name of the location, so I've got to take care of it because I didn't get a chance to last night because of the time. But it just depends on the location, Nick. If it's Andy's, if it's Brahms, if it's TCBY, if it's Baskin-Robbins, I have a favorite at each one of those. So I'm not sure exactly where we're going, but I'm going to have them pull the menu up so I can be prepared this evening. But we're a big ice cream bunch. And Sarah Ashley Barker, if you ever want her to be happy, get her some ice cream. Loyal, Aaliyah, all of them. It's really fun to watch them. Just enjoy a little thing that makes a big difference. But we're such big believers. Those things build chemistry. Guys, it's more than 94 feet. And I feel like we've done a really good job through the years of our kids to know it's bigger than basketball, and we can take some time to get to know each other through a simple ice cream cone.
Very good. Next question. Yes, we're back to Danny Davis of the Austin American-Statesman. And again, if you're joining us via Zoom, please use the raised hand function if you wish to ask Coach Curry a question. Danny?
Christy, I guess you'll be seeing a lot more of her in future years. But what are your initial impressions of Madison Booker and what she's doing for Texas?
Well, being from Mississippi, I had a chance to watch her in summer AAU ball. I can't probably tell you, it's a bunch. And, then the opportunity to see her from an international experience perspective, I think she is incredibly talented. I think a lot of that is she's more talented beyond her years because of her international experience. And I think, she's got great size. The one is how selfless she is. She'd rather share the ball than look to score, but whatever her team needs, she's really found a way to do that. I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. I know Vic had a chance to build a relationship with her, in Mississippi, and saw, she's just a really, really, really special talent. I'm excited to see what she does in the future, and I think she will just, again, add another layer of talent and special players in the SEC, as will the entire program. So we're excited to welcome them to the SEC, and we might as well get used to this so we can go ahead and get a step ahead here. Like I say, we got to think a pass ahead, so let's go ahead and get started in the spring to get ready for next January.
Do we have any other questions for Coach? I don't see any on Zoom either. So if that's it, Coach, again, congratulations. We look forward to seeing your team participate tomorrow.
Appreciate everybody. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Coach. And that will conclude our press conference with University of Alabama student athletes and head coach Christy Curry. A recording of this press conference will be posted in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Press conference transcripts are provided by ASAP, and those also will be posted shortly. Thank you again for joining this press conference, and we'll be back later with the University of Texas press conference. Welcome you back to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship press conference here from Austin, Texas. Today we are featuring the pre-second round game press conferences. We've had University of Alabama into the press conference earlier, and now we're going to turn our attention to the University of Texas. Texas is one of the number 1 seeds, enters the game tomorrow against Alabama, who is ranked 8th. Texas enters with a record of 31-4. Today we will hear from the student athletes first, and once those questions have been asked, they will be dismissed, and then we'll hear from Texas head coach Vic Schaefer. The student athletes who are going to be joining us today: freshman Madison Booker, senior Taylor Jones, and graduate student Shaylee Gonzalez. They will be in momentarily. If you are joining us on Zoom, we welcome you, and please use the raised hand function to ask your question, and you'll be called on momentarily. Right now, we want to welcome in our 3 Texas players. Ladies, congratulations again on the victory last night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us today. All right, we're going to start off with some questions from the media assembled here in Austin. Our first question will come from Danny Davis, Austin American-Statesman.
Now that you guys had a day to digest it, what did you like about the Drexel performance, and what did you think the team still needed to work on?
I think we did a good job at executing our offense the second half. I think overall the second half was a lot better than the first half, and I think we can all agree on that. I think we went inside really well and got a lot of good paint points. Maddie had like 14 assists, and so we shared the ball really well. Shaylee obviously shot the ball great, and I think that our offense flowed really well in the second half, and I think that we also took away a lot of things that they were trying to do better in the second half, and also we got a lot of O boards too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Our second half was a lot better, and before the game we watched a lot of film and preparing for that team, and obviously our upcoming game we're also watching a lot of film, so I feel like just preparing super well for the teams and knowing the scout team playing against our practice players really helps.
Yeah, I agree with their statements. Another thing I think we did well was just like our first 5 minutes. We went on a 9-0 run. And I think we've been doing that every game. But I think what we need to work on as a team is just when we go on that run, the first 5 minutes, after the media timeout, keep going on that run.
Before you ask your question, just state your name and your affiliation, please.
Christina Huang, Houston Chronicle. For all of you guys, what are y'all's initial thoughts on this Alabama team?
They're an SEC team, so I feel like that whole entire conference is very physical. And so coming into this game, I think that they're going to be a lot more physical than Drexel was. And they're basically playing 4 guards in 1 post. And so that's going to be a different matchup for our 4-player. But their 4 players also going to have to guard our 4 players. And I think that they're very quick and they attack the ball. They get to the rim a lot, and they also have good shooters. So our defense is going to have to be on point, and they also do have a 5-player that can finish around the rim. And after watching a lot of film and watching the game last night, they set a lot of ball screens. So that's going to we worked a lot on that in practice today. And so just making sure that we're physical and strong and ready to come out and play.
Yeah, they got a good shooter, good point guard, good inside game with their post player, and we know that they're going to really push the ball. And also in transition, we got to match up well and just, know personnel.
Just like Slim said, basically, like, they push the ball very well transition-wise. They're very quick, very fast. They want to score in transition, and I think it's going to be a great test for our team to see how well our team defense is and transition defense is.
We're going to go back to a question from Danny Davis from the Austin American-Statesman. Again, a reminder, if you're joining us on Zoom, please use the raised hand function to ask your question. Thank you.
Kind of going off of that, Taylor, what are your impressions of Essence Cody and what she does for Alabama? And Madison, did you know Essence at all in high school, the AAU circuit?
I did indeed. I know quite a few of them girls. Carly Weathers and Sarah Barker, we kind of played on the same, a travel team. They was kind of older than me, so they played on a different team. But, I'm familiar with their game.
I think after watching the game last night and watching more film, she's really physical. We have height on her. I have height on her, but she is really athletic. And last night, I think she did a really good job at like getting O boards, getting defensive rebounds. I think her guards also do a good job at reading the defense whenever she sets a screen and rolls. So our on-ball defense is going to have to be good. I think that she can finish well around the rim, but I think that it might be a little bit more challenging for her with our height. Last night, Florida State's post was about her height, so it'll be fun, a fun matchup. We have not shied away from playing some of the best posts in the country, so I don't doubt our defense will be able to handle her.
Danielle Lerner, Houston Chronicle. Maddie, you've gotten shout-outs from KD, from Cheryl Swoops. Just, I wondered, like, how does that make you feel when you hear from people like that?
Oh, I mean, it's a blessing. Just the people I guess like I looked up as a kid, just watching their game, watching their highlights and wanting to be like them. It's a big blessing. Makes me smile from time to time.
We're going to go back to a question from Danny Davis from the Austin American-Statesman. Danny?
I'm kind of wondering, logistically, what is this period like for y'all as far as having to quickly start preparing for an opponent that you don't know, that you've never prepared for, and also still work on the stuff you need to work on?
Taking it game by game, we were able to watch that game, Florida State and Alabama, right after our game. And so just watching their game. And then later that night, we had film. Then this morning, we also had film and then practice. So just preparing super well for that and knowing what we need to do to win.
Shaylee, you want to comment on that as well? I'm sorry, Taylor, do you want to comment on that as well? Sorry.
Yeah, like she said, we were able to watch the game last night, and our coaches do a great job of preparing beforehand. Coming into the whole tournament, I think that Coach Schaefer assigns different coaches different roles, and so I know Lovato was already scouting them, and so going into like last night after they won, we already had some clips pulled up, and we came back last night and watched a lot of film. This morning we watched a lot of film. Our practices were centered around Alabama, and so we'll probably watch more tonight and then maybe a little more tomorrow. So I'm not worried that we won't be prepared.
Thank you. Anything else from anyone in this room for our student athletes from Texas? Yes, we do have another question.
Hi, Christina Huang, Houston Chronicle. For Taylor and Shaylee, obviously you guys were part of the team from last year's second round loss. What's kind of been the mentality in the locker room to avoid that from happening again, I guess?
We keep saying Final Four. That's our mindset, and we just got to take it game by game. We know that we don't want to lose. We got a lot of, older girls on this team, and me being a 6th year, I want to end with a bang. So just, keep winning all that we can and prepare as a team. And it's just super fun to be with this team, and, hopefully we can keep winning.
Yeah, I think the pain of the loss from last year, you don't forget those games. And I don't really even think that this team has had to address that much. Like, I think that we know coming into this game, like, okay, last year, this is, like, we messed up. We're not going to do that again, and we're going to keep on going. So I know in the summer and in our off season, we use that a lot for motivation, and now we have a lot more things ahead of us. And so we're just taking it one game at a time, not focusing on the past or the future, just taking it one game at a time.
Any other questions for Madison, Shaylee, or Taylor? All right, seeing none, ladies, thank you for your time this afternoon, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank
you. Hook 'em.
Back to Austin, Texas. We will be concluding our press conferences here today in a few minutes when Texas head coach Vic Schaefer will join us for his press conference. Again, he will be here in a few minutes. And for those of you, I see more people have joined us via Zoom. If you would like to ask Coach Schaefer a question, please use the raised hand function, and you will be called on, and your question can be addressed then. And if you have a follow-up question, just let me know when you do come on to ask that first question. Thank you. Again, use the raised hand function if you're interested in asking head coach Vic Schaefer a question. It will be great. Folks here in Austin and online, we are now being joined by University of Texas head coach Vic Schaefer. Coach Schaefer, congratulations again on the victory last night. And if you could just make an opening statement, please.
Yeah, just great day to be a Longhorn. Giving God the glory for number 31 last night. Proud of our team, and excited about the opportunity that we have tomorrow afternoon. Obviously, for me personally, when I think of Alabama women's basketball, I think of Christy Curry and Kelly and what they've meant to Alabama and how good they've been over the years. I've obviously had some experience playing them and their team, and they're always so well coached, always disciplined, and so they're obviously somebody I consider friends and colleagues in the business. I don't have many in the business, but certainly feel like they are, and have a ton of respect and admiration for both of them and their staff. They actually have a former player that played on our Final Four team in '98 at Arkansas, Tennille Adams, on their staff as well. So really good basketball team. We'll have to play, we're going to have to play really well. Obviously, they come from a great league with lots of teams like ours, and so we won't be anything new for them. And again, I thought we played well in spurts yesterday. I thought the third quarter was really good, but I thought we had a lot of rust that we had to knock off in the first half, and but I was really pleased with our third quarter. So again, we got a big challenge in front of us. We'll have to play well. They are a big, tough, physical, aggressive basketball team, Alabama, and we're going to have to, before we can even start talking about X's and O's and strategy, we're going to have to match that toughness and competitive spirit that their kids have, because I'm really impressed with them.
Thank you, Coach. Our first question will come from Mark Rosner with the Associated Press. Mark?
Yeah, Vic, you mentioned big, tough, aggressive. What were your impressions of Cody last night? I mean, she more than doubled her average and got a lot of rebounds. Did you know she was that good?
Yeah, didn't play like a freshman, Moment obviously wasn't too big for her last night, and she certainly got our five players' attention as well as my attention. So we're going to have to obviously handle her and deal with her. She's not just a she didn't just finish last night, but she set so many ball screens in transition, and she's a big girl. So her screens are very effective, and a lot of times they're blind. You don't know they're coming. And so you've got to really have your head on a swivel, or you're going to get pinned and you might get hurt. She's really good at what she does, and at the same time, we've got to really be aggressive handling that screen.
Next question, just make sure you identify yourself and your affiliation.
Travis Raychek, Spectrum News. Vic, Madison was telling me about she was a big fan of your Mississippi State teams, watching those Final Four runs. How unique is it to have a relationship that I guess kind of goes back to then? You recruited her in middle school, and then you end up all the way here in Texas together.
Well, it's obviously it's not common, and so it does make it special. And, anytime you recruit a young lady, to me there's and again, I was a parent. I had a daughter that was being recruited, and kids can go a lot of places, win a lot of games. That's true if you're a really good player. To me, with Blair, it was who can I trust with my daughter? Who can I have confidence in with my daughter? And so with all of our players, and especially Madison and her family, just knowing that, we have their trust and confidence here at the University of Texas, not a place, they know I'm here, but they weren't familiar with this place. And so it just means it's pretty cool. We share a lot of different stories together, and lots of different experiences that date back to our time in that great state. And we both have so many friends and family and great memories there. And so we share a lot of admiration for our time in that state. We have so many great experiences, and so, but it's really cool. For me, it's, when you're recruiting, you invest so much time, energy, effort in these kids, and, Book's no different, and so it's really, really cool to have the relationship that we have, and the stories that we can share with each other.
Same line, she mentioned wanting to be the best that's ever come from Mississippi.
Yeah.
You coached one of the best ever in Vivian's, and how much it means to her to bring attention to that state. What kind of impact can she have in that state?
Hey, I feel the same way. I felt that way when I was in that state, and there's still a part of me that is so fond of so many people in that state. You have to really experience it and experience the people. And I'm not just talking about Bulldogs. I'm talking about Bulldogs, Rebels, all of them. I think she's to be commended for that. And so, look, I've said this a lot, and I've thought about it. Victoria Vivians was a heck of a player, first team All-American her senior year, and all SEC, and Book as a freshman, she's better than Victoria was as a freshman. But now she plays she just has a different game, and she's had to be our point guard, and not taking anything from Victoria, because let me tell you, Victoria Vivians was never afraid of any moment, never scared, had a scoring mentality unlike anybody I've ever seen. And I'm really fortunate to have been able to coach her. She's impacted my career far, far reaching. And so, but when you start comparing them as freshmen, I think Book's a little bit ahead of her as a freshman. Now, we'll see how it all goes as her career goes, but that's two pretty good Mississippi girls right there that have really, I think, put that state on the map. And I know that state is awfully proud of both of them, and I'm just really grateful that I've had the opportunity to coach them both, because both of them, not only are they great players, they're just wonderful, wonderful young ladies, and come from wonderful families.
We're now going to go to a question from one of our Zoom participants. Corey Mose from KView Sports. Corey?
Hey, Coach. We weren't able to touch on Madison's performance with you yesterday because time ran out, but just wanted to get your perspective on the way she's been able to develop throughout the season in terms of, I guess, decision making as a playmaker. I know over time, you're trying to get Shaylee the ball, you're trying to get Shay the ball, but also still sticking with the game plan of going down low. How has she been able to balance that throughout the season and grow in that aspect?
Yeah, she's learned really quick with me. Got to take care of the ball, and that's a big stat. As I told you the other night after we won the Big 12 championship, she was most proud not of the 25 points, but of the 0 turnovers, and that's what she wanted to bring up right away. And again, she's gotten so much better, and she understands the importance of taking care of the ball. She knows I'm not a fan of 50-50s. The 1 or 2 that get through and the 7 or 8 that don't, I'm not a fan of those percentages. And so she's really learned to value the basketball and run her team and get people the ball. Y'all heard her last night. She's so unselfish, and she enjoys the assist as much as the made basket. So, again, it's what makes her great. It's what makes her a great teammate. It's what makes her a great person. And, again, we're really fortunate to have her.
Corey, do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, just Vic, how's your sleep schedule? You been able to get some sleep in, or even up all night watching film?
Yeah, this time of year, Corey, it's not good, but I always say I can sleep when I'm dead. So we'll figure it out. Trying to give these kids every ounce that you got and making sure you're preparing them and putting them in a position to be successful. That's what, we do as coaches, and it just comes with the territory. So put in a full day today, and I'll try to get a little sleep tonight, Corey.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions, Corey. Back to Danny Davis, Austin American Statesman.
Vic, what are your impressions of Aaliyah Nye and just kind of what she's able to do shooting-wise from 3?
And she's really good, Danny. She's really a complete player. You look at her statistics, shooting the ball from 2, from 3, great handle, big guard, big physical guard. She's just really good. There's so many really good players on the team. I mean, you talk about her and Barker, but both those kids to me, they kind of are really, really important to that team and make them go. I know Barker's first team All SEC, and she's certainly a great in her own right, but I'm not sure that Nye doesn't have equal importance. They are separated by about 2.5 points. What they average. And I think that's where teams get teams that have to guard them, somebody's going to have to put their best defender on one of them, and the other one's going to take advantage of you if you're not careful. And so I think that's what makes them so unique. Again, they're playing a 4-guard lineup, and reminds me a lot of my, my state teams that when I had Victoria at the 4. She was my 2-guard for 3 years, and then I moved her to the 4. She's first-team All-American. I never will forget, she said, she pulled me to the side one day late in her career. She said, "Hey, Coach, how come you didn't figure this out a little earlier, moving me to the 4? She said, "I'd much rather play the 4. She said, "Nobody can guard me at the 4, and I don't have to chase them guards around the perimeter. I just go down there and lay on some big 4 player, and I can guard them down there with a whole lot less energy." And, it just – Barker's a tough matchup offensively for you, and you can put a guard on her, and then you're going to have a 4 player on one of those other players. So, we're going to have to be really good, really solid. I think the thing I like about my 4 players is we've run into some really good 4 players this year, and Iowa State's got a pretty good one. And after the game, Amo wanted to talk about the defensive job she did. On her in the championship game. I think we held her to 3 points. So You know, she's a great player. Nye is, you know, going to be a handful for us, but, you know, I feel like our kids have a pretty good understanding of how to defend the whole team. And, you know, we're going to have to do a great job doing it. They're averaging, you look in their last 5 games, they've scored in the high 70s and 80s. One time they've been held to the 60s, and that was in the Tennessee game. They're averaging 75, 76 points a game in the SEC, y'all. That's a lot of points. They're scoring a lot of points in that league. That's a credit to Christy and her staff and that team. So we'll have our hands full defensively.
Danielle Lerner, Houston Chronicle. Blair said that she doesn't think the fundamentals of your defense have changed very much over the years from A&M to State to here, but she thinks that your approach to how you teach it has changed. Do you agree with that?
You know, I'll have to have a closed-door meeting with her and find out what that means. I'm not sure. You know, we do the same drills, you know, every day that I've been doing for a long, long time. And, you know, I think maybe part of that, her justification is, you know, instead of 3 minutes today of defense on the floor, we went 1 minute. Instead of 2 minutes of mirror, we went 1 minute. Instead of 10 minutes of show, we went 7 minutes, you know. And again, you know, this time of year, you know, while I still want to work on the fundamentals and keep our habits, you know, I've learned to not try to do as much between days and between games. And so, but again, I think what we're teaching and how we're teaching it certainly hasn't changed. You know, what I want to say is, and I've got former players up and down my hallway, none of your former players ever think you're the same coach today that you were when you coached them. They always think it was much harder, you know, back when they played. And maybe that's what she's talking about. I don't know.
Mark Rosner, AP.
Vic, from your years of experience in the SEC, is there truly an SEC style of play, and does Alabama maybe embody it in any way?
Yeah, I believe it. You're talking about quick, athletic, physical. I mean, you know, our thought for the day today was we've got to be physical. We've got to play athletic. And when I say that, I mean we've got to block shots, alter shots. You've got to play, you know, you got to play on the ground with your feet and have great technique, because there is a level of quickness and athleticism in all sports in that league, I think. And so, you know, we're and again, not to take anything from the league we're in, because there's so many good teams, great players. But, you know, one of the things about Alabama is they're really quick with the ball, you know. And I think, again, Christy has always done a great job coaching them. And as I mentioned, and when we first started, you know, when 21 sets a ball screen now, you can make 2 left turns and still only be halfway around it. And so we're going to have to really, really be good technique-wise in dealing with that stuff. So, but I do think there's a level of competitive spirit that those teams in that league just seem to have. And, you know, I do think our team is like that. I think we're built that way to an extent, and so, you know, we'll see how it all shakes out. But I do think in that league it's a little different.
Christina Huang, Houston Chronicle. Coach, obviously you're very familiar with Alabama and Christy Curry, but how much are you relying on that previous knowledge to prepare for tomorrow?
You know, I always have things in the back of my mind that I've had to deal with them, and at the same time, I'm always a guy I know what happened. You know, I have files and files on every team I've ever played. You know, 2 and 3 files on all of our conference foes, and and I always keep them, and I always go back through my notes. I'm a note taker. I've always been a note taker. If I have to go to a meeting, I'm usually got a tablet with me. So I've got a lot of notes. After a game, we write down at halftime on one side what we need to adjust, and then I have post-game comments on the other side. And so I always go to those just to do my homework. And so the things that I can recall with Christy and her teams at Alabama are pretty clear to me in my head. And then I'm always I'm a film guy, so I'm going to go look at certain films that I feel like have more value than others. And I certainly can't go back and look at 18 films, and I might try, but I can't. And so I'll go back and have to value the ones that I feel like might have some pertinent information, whether it's offense or defense, and do it. So really, more than that, I think you just have to figure out when you start looking at personnel. And I told our staff this yesterday. In the old days, y'all, you could scout a team one time a year, in person. And now you can't. The NCAA's ruled that out. But when you go scout somebody, you're not trying to draw up plays. When you scout somebody, speed and quickness, that's what you can't get off film. When you sit and watch them courtside in person, that's what, in my mind, that's what I'm evaluating, speed and quickness. You might be able to get a play call, but at the end of the day, in person, that's what you really get. If you ever watch a football coaching staff, when the other team's doing their deal on the other end of the field, a lot of coordinators, offensive coordinators, will go down there and stand at the 50 and look at the other team because they want to see just how big them dudes are in person. The D coordinator might go down there and look and see just how big those guys are, or how fast or how speedy they might be in real life, because it's just different. So, I think when you sit there and watch them, that's what jumped out yesterday. Both teams. I thought both teams were extremely athletic, quick, fast. They got up and down the floor. We worked a long time today on that in our practice, the speed of the game.
Do we have any other questions for Coach Schaefer? Yes, one more from Mark Rosner.
Quickly, Vic, all these things you're talking about, preparation, film, notes, is it a challenge to pare it down and simplify so that the players don't get too much in their heads?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when we went through film today, I gave them offensively what our package is going to be. And then I told them defensively on each player what our goal was, and maybe something that they're really good at that we need to really try to eliminate. And then you give them something as a team that we have to do together to guard them collectively versus, just an individual statistic or an individual thing that somebody likes to do. And so, I think you're right. I think you have to be careful. You can't overload them, But here's the thing that I love about our team. When we go to film, they bring their notebooks, and they take notes. I want them to take notes. I was a guy, and I didn't figure it out until late in my college career, but if I didn't write it down, I can't recall it. And for me, I can get this scouting report right here from Elena and look at it and go, yep, that's right, yep, that's right, yep, that's right. But unless I physically write down the plays, write down the movements, it's just the way my brain's made. It's hard for me to recall them. So I have to physically write it out. Sorry, Barb, I know you're in a hurry.
I'm in no hurry, Coach.
Well, I can't believe that.
Well,
you're
today,
always trying to get me out of here.
Well,
So see, this is me physically writing up a play. It's the only, and so I know I've got all of them. So then when I'm out there and she's going through things that we've got to defend, I can tell her, hey, go through double high, go through double stagger away, I can call those and she go, okay, I got it. She knows. I mean, we've been together so long, she knows what I'm talking about. But it's just me. It's just kind of how my brain works. And if I just, again, going back to my college days, I think I've shared with y'all, it took me a little while to get out of college. And until I figured out I had to write my notes exactly how they were on the board and then come home and rewrite them, it was just hard for me to recall. So for me, I have to do the same thing. And so I think it's really important with our kids that we kind of keep it simplified. But if you come to a film session with us, our kids are really good. And I love that about them. They're very intentional. They take the right notes. They get the information. And for me, maybe it just makes me feel better. But at least if I know they wrote it down, at least they know, in my mind, they at least got it somewhere up there. So.
All right. I think that will conclude our press conference. Coach, thanks so much again for your time.
All right.
Best of luck to you and the Texas team in tomorrow's second-round action.
Once
Thank you,
again,
Coach.
thank y'all for your coverage. Appreciate y'all being here so much. Praise the Lord and hook 'em horns.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Barbara. Appreciate you.
And that will conclude our press conferences for today before the second-round games here in Austin. Again, thank you for joining us via Zoom. And for those people who wish to have a recording of this press conference and all the others, they will be posted in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Also, the press conference transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly there as well. Thank you once again for joining us.